This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Arizona. I'm here with the author of Quantum, a gripping exploration of scientific discovery, power struggles, and survival. I'm joined here with the author, CEO, coach, Mark. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thanks, Jerry. Good to be here.
I'm going to start off a little bit about yourself. I mean, you were formally educated with a master's at California State University, Long Beach. As a chief strategist at the University of Arizona, you have fostered partnerships and strategies that will empower communities in Arizona and beyond. But really, it was your studies at Oxford University that really kind of fueled your passion. So share with me a bit of your background before we begin.
So I think I'd just like to start with Oxford. I had this idea for the book Quantum, and obviously quantum is a very complex topic. And so to be sure that I understood quantum, I decided to take a course at Oxford. You can't go to a better university than Oxford. And it was a good summer trip too. I had a chance to just immerse myself in the countryside that I was writing about.
Excellent. I mean, as a lifelong learner, you studied quantum physics right there at Oxford. So let's first explain to my viewers what is quantum physics. Kind of put that in terms for us.
Well, that's a tough one because I think that the best line was a line from I'm blanking on the name, but there was a quote from one of the physicists of the 20th century that basically said, once you think you understand quantum, you have only just begun to learn. Quantum is the understanding of the atom at its most basic levels, where the quarks, where the Higgs boson, where the God's particle, where some of those building blocks of the atom really take hold. And to understand quantum really is something that I'm not sure anybody fully understands, because every day I read and I read some new discovery about quantum. I think the most interesting thing about quantum is what Einstein called spooky action at a distance. And that's where two things are entwined as one. And it does not matter the distance, but if you do something to one, the exact happens to the other. Now, in the lab, it's kind of easy to understand that, but at Stanford University, they're actually doing experiments that go off into space. So two things that are separated by significant distances. When you do something to one, you do something to the other. Now, this is not my area of specialty, but that's where the concept of
like you said, once you think you have it figured out, you really don't. We're talking about a rabbit hole that keeps going, and it's something that has obviously fascinated you. Is your passion for scientific discovery and exploration what really fueled the idea to write a book, would you say? And why the decision to put pen to paper?
so it's been a dream of mine to write a novel. I've written nonfiction in the past, but the novel was my dream. My wife and I were hiking the Camino in Spain, the famous pilgrimage trail across Spain to Santiago de Compostela. And it is a beautiful setting because you're walking every day, you're hiking every day through pastoral settings. And these little villages that are along the way, they have little cafes. They have places where you can stop and get coffee, espressos. And one morning as we were hiking, this little girl, probably 12, ran out, looked at the pilgrim trail, saw us coming, and said in Spanish, Mommy, Mommy, the pilgrims are coming. hurry, hurry, we have to open. That is Bella, that little girl on the Pilgrim Trail is who I based my hero of Quantum on.
Who
And
would have known a girl on your travels like that would inspire something, a character later on that you're going to write about? I mean, Webster's definition of quantum is a discrete quantity of energy proportional in magnitude to the frequency of the radiation it represents. I mean, that goes right over my head. Why was this a good fit and a good title for your book, would you say?
it's a good title for my book because my characters are physicists. Bella, once she becomes an adult, living in Oxford as a tutor at the University of Oxford, is a world renowned physicist. So I needed to base it on a title that would fit. So what happens is quantum moves into um, a connection between Bella and other people throughout the book. And that spooky action at a distance occurs.
Let's break this down a little bit. I mean, this is first of all, this is contemporary fiction. Growing up, did your imagination play a part in what you decided to pursue later on in life? And does imagination come easy for you even as an adult? Would you say?
Imagination comes easier as an adult than it did when I was younger. I was very practical when I was younger, wanted to earn a living, earned a good living, held traditional jobs. And when I retired is when I started to write. And so my imagination now is as open as it's ever been.
Interesting. In our reading, we find Bella, a quantum physicist in love with the heir to a world renowned banking dynasty. Was Bella created drawing from your own memories, maybe, even at Oxford, maybe through some of the research of people you met? Obviously, she studied there too. Does that kind of tie into some of your past at Oxford, would you say?
Of course, of course. Everything in the book ties to some experience that I've had or somebody who I've met. Throughout the book, there are characters who are real people who are woven into the story.
I bet. That is great. This journey, I mean, it takes them from the shores of the sea to the heights of the Alps. Readers say you take them from Rolex trivia to esoteric travel bits with a sense of a Da Vinci Code mixed in. Are readers amazed at how much you're able to pack in those pages, would you say?
I would say they are. The feedback that I get, every bit of the feedback was they were amazed at how many details were in the book. And I researched every detail that's in the book and I made sure it was accurate. From working with a Rolex dealer to make sure that everything I wrote about Rolex was accurate, to quantum physics, attending Oxford, to the University of Arizona, where the book moves from Oxford to Arizona.
Wow, interesting. I mean, this story is where science and passion really intertwine. When you begin writing, what came first, would you say? The love story or the global race for the future of power?
The global race for the future of power definitely came first. But because Bella was such an attractive, brilliant, beautiful woman, I had to create a love story to go along with that.
That is cool. That is very cool. With the fate of nations at stake, the story shifts when Jack Douglas makes a startling breakthrough. So explain Zelkanite in layman's terms for us a little bit.
So Zelkanite is made up material. I made up the name, but the concept of quantum computing and quantum networking is really based on what are called qubits. So if we look at our current computers, they're all digital. It's on or off. It's silicon-based material. So in order to get to quantum, and what a qubit is, it is everything at once. So it is all imaginable actions taking place at once in what are these very small units. In order to do that, we have to come up with a new material. So material science is laying the basis for quantum computing and for quantum networking. University of Arizona is a center for quantum computing and quantum networking. My advisor, scientific advisor to the book, was the head of quantum computing at quantum computing research at the University of Arizona. And he led me through this to help make sure that everything that is in the book is possible.
I like how you've tied everything into the local area where you're at. I mean, this is all deeply rooted in Tucson and in the University of Arizona. I mean, the book seems to ask, will Arizona researchers match Jack's fictional breakthrough? I mean, is this a fun read for fellow researchers and professionals in that network, would you say?
They love it. The feedback I get from the experts is they can't believe that I have created something that when they looked at it, they said that's not possible. But when they read the book, they said it potentially could happen. Now, I think the most interesting thing that we haven't touched on is it also includes combat search and rescue. Combat search and rescue is the Air Force Special Forces and is the hardest of all the special forces to services to complete. So combat search and rescue saves Payman on the Mediterranean as his racing yacht is hit by lightning. And he has a tib-fib break. So combat search and rescue out of Arizona happens to be in Italy at the time that I created. And the final scenes, I know we want to get to the final scenes, but the final scenes take place at Mount Lemmon, which is visible from across the Tucson Basin. And the combat search and rescue from the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, which is right here in Tucson, saves the day and comes and steps in with special forces. The combat search and rescue people have adopted the book as one of their favorites.
Wow. I mean, you definitely have mastered the details when it comes to this book. I mean, you say the novel honors people whose fearless rescues are woven really throughout the book. Was that important for you to include that?
It was. So combat search and rescue is here, headquartered here at Davis-Monthan in Tucson, which is the Air Force Base here. And I've been associated with Davis-Monthan for the past 25 years as a civilian supporting the base. And I've learned about combat search and rescue. And to me, they are truly the guardian angels of the world. Yeah. Because anywhere where somebody is down and needs assistance, whether it's behind enemy lines or in the Mediterranean or in the mountains in Arizona, they are there for them.
And we can't do enough to thank those folks for their service. What they do is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. Mark, you are a visionary author that draws on a distinguished career in the defense industry and a lifetime of expertise and deep understanding of really quantum mechanics and relativity. Is it rewarding for you to share your knowledge through writing?
Of course. Of course. I love to share knowledge. As an extrovert, I love to speak. I love to be around people. And this opens the door to really sitting down with people who I might not normally meet and to talk to them and to hear their stories and weave some of those stories into the future book, the sequel.
Just like we've met today, great story. I am excited to get it out there to my viewers. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen. What you're going to see is his website. On the website, you can learn more about the book, obviously. They have a trailer there as well. You can also go to Amazon where you can order the book in both hardcover and softcover, even as a digital download. You can find and follow Mark right there on LinkedIn as well. He'll keep you apprised of where he may be as far as book signings, that type of thing. Basically, read the story of a fierce battle of intrigue, romance, and ambition that really spans the globe. Once again, that is Quantum by Mark Ziska. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.